Welcome to Voices from the Classroom, a video podcast dedicated to supporting and celebrating our Grow beginning teachers. I'm Jennifer Teeter, Intermountain ESD instructional coach, and in each episode, we'll sit down with new educators, mentors, and instructional leaders to explore the real experiences, challenges, and celebrate successes happening in classrooms across the region. Whether you're in your first year or helping guide the next generation of teachers, this space is for learning, reflection, and inspiration. So let's dive in and hear the stories that shape our practice and strengthen our educational community. All right. Well, today for our Voices in the Classroom podcast, we're here with Sami, who is middle school science teacher for Sunridge Middle School in Pendleton. And just have a couple questions for you that we want to visit with you about after you participated in our Grow program last year. So, first one, can you share a little bit about your journey into education and really what led you to become a teacher?
Yeah. So I come from a whole family of teachers. Like my grandma was a teacher, my aunt's a teacher, my cousin's teacher, my sister's teacher. Like my whole family seems like it's all teachers, or at least has been in some way or another. So it's always education's always been in my life. When I was a student going through school, I always loved going to school. I've always enjoyed it. I always loved learning. I just loved like the whole community aspect of being a part of the school, and so when I got to my junior, sophomore year of high school, I was like, okay, what am I going to do with the rest of my life? And I was like, I could be a high school teacher, I could be a middle school teacher, I could be a teacher in some aspect. Like I've always loved being here. And so that's kind of what led me to that career path. It's always been positive experiences. I know some people get into teaching for the negative experiences. And so I'm like, I've had a positive experience. I want to make sure that continues throughout the next generations of students coming through. So that's kind of what got me into education.
And how did you pick middle school science?
Well, I didn't. I wasn't going into middle school. My original plan was high school. That's where I did my student teaching, and I loved it at the high school. But at the time when I was applying for jobs, I know I wanted to stay in the area, and there wasn't a ton of high school biology specifically jobs in the area that were opening. There was a middle school, and so I was like, you know what, I'll try it. Like go through there a few years and see what happens. And I actually really love it. I mean, there's some days when I'm like, hey, we're in a middle school. Like, what did I get myself into? But then most days, it's like it's super fun. Like they're still excited. They're still like super engaged, and it has been really fun. So I enjoy it.
Good. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Yeah.
All right. So next question is looking back on your first year, what were you most unsure about? And really, like, how did the Grow program help support you through some of those times when you were unsure about things?
Yeah. I felt like going into the summer before starting my first year of teaching, I was like completely overwhelmed. I was like, I don't even know where to start. Like I obviously just went through my teaching program, so I kind of know like where to start, but also like there's so many, like my to-do list seems like it's miles long. And so I was just like, oh my gosh, I don't know. I don't even know where to begin. And so going through the Grow program, especially those first couple of training days, like before even contract days start, it kind of gave me a great kind of foundation of like, okay, let's make sure that we have all of these things first, because I was so worried about, okay, I need to have everything ready before the first day of school, and that's just physically impossible to do. Like there's always going to be something to do, something to fix, something to organize, whatever it is. And so it really gave me kind of like a foundation to be like, okay, let's get these small things done first, or this small list of things done first, and then that way you know that you're at least ready to get into the first week, the first couple of days, and then we can start slowly working through the rest of the things. And so it kind of, I mean, throughout my whole entire first year, it's always just overwhelming, and there's always things flying at you. You're facing new challenges every single day. But at least going into the first couple of weeks of school, I kind of felt like, okay, I kind of have the foundations a little bit. I know kind of where I'm going, what I'm doing, what I'm building up to, or I'm building up towards. And so that was what really helped me that first year for sure.
Okay. All right. So next one is, how has participating in the program really helped influence the way you support and connect with your students?
I would say it's a good reminder, especially once you've started the school year and you start meeting every so often, every month or however long it was. It's a good reminder of looking at the big picture of your students and not necessarily just like how they're behaving that day or that week, or how they're achieving or not achieving academically, like it's good to make sure when you have these meetings, you talk about a bunch of different topics, but it kind of like pulls you back a little bit and like, okay, they're still a kid, like they're still learning how to be a human, like they're 13, 14 years old, like they're still trying to get through life, and they're not just whatever's, I guess, whatever's happening in their life at that time. But it kind of pulls me back and be like, okay, how can I support them in this way if they're not achieving academically or even just like emotionally or mentally or whatever it is. And so it's just good reminders to be like, okay, let's take a step back, let's see how else you can help them, because clearly whatever we're trying right now is not working, or maybe they're just not reacting well to the strategy that you're choosing now. And so it grounds you a little bit. It's kind of like, okay, let's try something else. Like, because I during the week or during however long, if a student is struggling, it's really easy to be like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to be able to help this student. I'm never going to be able to get to them. And so then when you get in a room full of educators or people who have been in that same scenario, they can share their ideas, they can share what they've tried, and it helps ground you a little bit, pulls you back.
Well, that's what I was going to ask. Did you find that being able to be in the same room with other beginning teachers, like that they were able to give you ideas too, besides just our instructional coaches?
Yeah.
Like you learn from
For
the other
sure.
teachers in the room too.
Because even then, like even if they're through the program, some of them have been para educators before, or they've been in a school before. Whereas me, my first year teaching, I mean, besides my student teaching year, that was my first time, like, besides being a student, being in a school. And so if they've been in a school or in the education field much longer, like they've seen a lot more things. Because like I always tell people, like your like best friend in education is just like experience, because like as you are here long enough and as you've had more experience, you learn constantly, and you learn a bunch more things. And so having that feedback, having those insights is really helpful.
Good. All right, so next, can you share one practice around goals or routines and relationships, or even organization systems that you work through in getting your classroom ready? Something that really stood out to you that you still are using, like on a weekly or monthly basis, that you learned through the program?
Yeah. The one thing, like I kind of have two of them. The one like organizational piece was the emergency sub binder, because I knew going through my program, I knew that was a thing. Like I knew I needed to have that, but I vividly remember because I took a picture of it because I was like, it's perfect. There was one slide that literally said, okay, you should have all of these things in your emergency sub binder, and you should have all of these things in case you're gone for 2 or 3 days unexpectedly. And so that, like organizationally wise, because me, like I want to be prepared in case something, because you never know if you're going to get sick or somebody's like, you're just not going to be there for a few days. So I want to make sure that my substitute or whoever's going to be in my room is prepared and is ready for that. So that was one thing. As far as like goal setting, we did a lot of like goal setting reviewing as in the Grow program, but also in my teaching program as well. And so going through your teaching program, there's a lot of things thrown at you, and so sometimes it kind of goes in one ear out the other. And so when we talk about like learning goals specifically, or even just writing like your student growth goals for your observations and things, all of those were super helpful. All those insights and things, because it's always you do it and then you're like, okay, I did it. I don't have to really worry about it. And then as far as student growth goals, and then when it comes time to write them again, you're like, okay, wait, what can I do, or how do I do this, or what's the best way to go about this? So that's always a helpful kind of insight to have.
Good. All right, thank you. All right, last question. What would you say to a new teacher who is considering participating in the Grow program with us, and really, or any other professional development that IMESD offers?
I would say go for it. Like even if you think you're like, oh, I don't need it, like it's just one more thing on my plate. Like I feel like I just got out of my program where I just was working in a school. Like I know what I need to know. Like just go to at least one, and then you can just sit there and just absorb information if you don't want to speak, or you can share your ideas. Or there's so much value in sharing your ideas and bouncing your ideas off of other educators, because kind of like what we were saying earlier, like you learn so much just from other people and so much from experiences, especially ones that you haven't had. So I would say just go, like just test it out, and if you enjoy it, then I would just obviously keep going, because it's like I've said before, like it just is good to bounce off ideas from other people. So that's what I appreciate.
All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Sami.
Thank you.